Gavin Newsom slides our way.
This order, if you want to talk about the epitome of California,
Right.
then let me just inform you, in case you missed it.
It's a morning answer where you get information.
That overnight, the governor has now released a set of guidelines as to what he constitutes a meal.
I, in the thick of night, like a cat burglar, sent out a statement letting you Nimrods know what constitutes a healthy meal. I am the Emerald Lagasse of public policy.
So this guy, our governor, Gavin Newsom, has this order, remember, that shut down all the bars unless they could serve food. You remember that, right?
I do, but he has to have some sort of information that we're not eating properly.
Well,
look, we're not breathing properly.
Yeah.
We got masks over.
No one's doing anything right here, including you, Mr. Governor. But in New York, they had the same kind of order. So Governor Andrew Cuomo said that bars could stay open if they serve food. Well, there was a restaurant in New York, in Buffalo, called the Lafayette. And the Lafayette is a bar, but they got around Governor Cuomo's order by releasing a really funny menu that they did really to get attention on social media and to kind of stick it to the governor. It's funny. On this menu,
at the Lafayette in Buffalo, New York,
everything's $1. You can get house chips, the definition, chips made in the house.
Got it.
A piece of meat, one piece of our sliced charcuterie meat, chef's choice, or try substituting for a piece of cheese.
Wow.
$1.
You know the meat's got to be real high quality when they'll just very expeditiously switch it out with a slice of cheese.
You want bologna, you want ham. All right, grapes, just a few grapes. We're not sure of the color.
P.S. Don't get crazy with the grape.
Exactly. Smallest piece of cheesecake in Buffalo. Literally the smallest piece of cheesecake you'll ever see. And then 9 French fries. Literally 9 French fries. So they released this menu. It goes viral on social media. Governor Gavin Newsom gets a hold of this menu.
Which comes from New York, a restaurateur there.
Just having some fun. I mean, my goodness, everything is so serious. There's statues and COVID and everybody's all upset about everything. And so this restaurant in New York has a little fun with the governor's order about about bars staying open. Okay, so fast forward now to Governor Newsom, who sees this and says, well, we're not going to have any of that fun in California. Oh, no.
Oh, not on my watch. All of you transmitting potential killers.
So overnight,
yes,
the governor.
What happened there?
I've got allergies.
You became Brenda. You became Brenda Vaccaro.
I did.
It was like this. So
overnight.
I'm like, where's Jen?
Would you like one of my Marlboro? I can't even say it. Hey, Marlboros?
Marlboro. Did Newsom, he talked about nutrition. He talked about nicotine.
So he dims what we think is lunch.
To use what we referred to over the course of the last few months as the dimmer switch.
Here's the deal. The governor actually wrote an guidance.
What?
For what restaurants can serve as a meal. So the next time you go dining out someplace, God forbid, if they serve alcohol, you will have to have a full meal, or this restaurant, this establishment will no longer be able to be open or serve you alcohol.
I would think that running the largest state in the union with almost 40 million residents during a state emergency, a national emergency, and a global pandemic where your state is leading the nation with positive cases, humans testing for COVID-19, I would think you wouldn't have the time to customize the menu items on restaurants in the Golden State.
Who are already limited and having trouble staying in business. So the governor's agency explains what constitutes a meal in a bar. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I might disagree with some.
We'll skip the first paragraph because that's just a bunch of advisory guidance, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Businesses and Professions Code Section 23038 provides that meals mean the usual assortment of foods commonly ordered at various hours of the day. The service of such food and victuals only as sandwiches or salads shall not be deemed a compliance with this requirement. So he's now put the kibosh on bars that serve sandwiches, salads. I think those are pretty common items.
I think sandwiches and salads are meals, but of course, his real motivation. We've got these operators who are, and I saw it in my own neighborhood, some people I like and know did it. They would add items in their store to try to pass off that they were kind of a pseudo restaurant. Mm-hmm. Newsom just I don't want gatherings. I am just terrified of droplets.
But it gets worse. So it goes beyond sandwiches and salads. Now he says that if you serve food in a bar, that it has to be the amount of food that a reasonable person might consume during a meal.
Was he Rachel Ray?
Yeah. He went on to say snacks such as pretzels, nuts, popcorn, pickles, and chips.
I'm sorry, what was
not
it?
allowed.
What was the second one, Gavin?
Nuts.
Thanks. Just checking.
Food ordinarily served as appetizers or first courses. This is where you're going to get outraged.
Oh, you might think that potato skins were A-okay, but
No.
you are wrong.
Food ordinarily served as appetizers or first courses such as cheese sticks, fried calamari, chicken wings.
Oh, my favorite.
Pizza bites, egg rolls, pot stickers, flautas, cups of soup, and any small portion of a dish that may constitute the main course when it's not served in a full portion or when it's intended for sharing, not allowed. Side dishes, bread, rolls, french fries, onion rings, small salads, and they include green potato, macaroni, and fruit salad.
We got big problems.
Rice, mashed potatoes, small portions of vegetables, and they also add in reheated, refrigerated, or frozen entrees and dessert. Let me tell you the problem about this. Here's a dirty little secret. I won't name any names, but there are a lot of restaurants out there who have a corporate office, who have frozen meals that they send to their chains, that those chains just warm up and serve.
Yeah, of course.
That's pretty common.
Of course.
And under Gavin's new rules, those chains, and at least if they operate as a bar, will not be able to open up.
Now, look, I have always supported, I said last week that I started with the premise they all brought forward, and there was a brief shining moment. It was Camelot. They all came together, and I supported it then. I support it still. The goal is to try to prevent people from getting sick, and I support it. I'm glad to see President Trump, we'll talk more about that in a moment, coming forward and seeming to do a little switcheroo on his perspective. I'm glad that he's back on this side of the fence. I will say, I am proud that with you, Jennifer, on March 12, the day after Trump's speech, I believe it was March 12, I drew all of our collective attention, and you did as well, but obviously, to the expeditious and awesome
Huge
powers of the government
that
were just afflicted on us or perpetrated on us.
And so the question is, does banning chicken wings at the governor's office, is that going to prevent people from getting COVID-19?
Well, the question is, between the masks, which I support, covering the airways, not just one of them, not two of them, but all three of them, 2 nostrils and a mouth, and now they're controlling or dictating the food that you can eat in certain areas and conditions. This is creeping to a place that yours truly, and I'm sure most people who are Americans and value freedom, you don't have to be an American to value freedom, you hear this and you go, what?
Yeah, I'm glad to, really, truly, I'm glad we agree on this because this is when you hear me argue about how we need to get back to normal and we can't let government mandate everything in our lives. This is why. I mean, not only are restaurants and bars were they closed down for a long amount of time, then they spent a lot of money to upgrade to meet the original requirements of reopening. Now they're being told they can operate if they're outdoors and they have to operate by a really strict standard of what they can and cannot serve. So you may have a bar that doesn't have a huge amount of kitchen space now struggling to not serve sandwiches because the governor says sandwiches are just not enough to make a meal.
Jennifer Horn, Morning Answer here on a Wednesday. I've always said it. My activism ends where my stomach begins.
I knew that's how I could get your support on this one.
And this is just one of them times.